In our first session, we defined love as an unconditional, unwavering, eternal, self-sacrificing love that works for the good of the other at great expense to the lover. So when you feel like you're ready to look for someone to be your lifelong partner, where do you go to find that one person who fills your heart with joy? You might think that the best place to be where everyone else is. If you're fishing for dates, where are you gonna find the people to ask you out or to ask out? The answer for my generation was mostly at the mall, at parties, at football games on Friday nights. Watch any 80s movie about teenagers and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. You see, today's social media and online culture makes things quite a bit easier to connect on surface levels and quite a bit more complicated to find true, deep, meaningful connection and maintain a lasting relationship. Mark Twain wrote, "When you fish for love, bait with your heart, not your brain." But we can't leave our brains at the door when we want to find the person with whom we will share the rest of our lives. See, in this session, we're going to talk about the places we look to find love. Believe it or not, it matters. The old saying goes, "Great fish do not swim in shallow waters." Now, I'll go ahead and give you a little clue, though. If you're an emotionally, spiritually secure and healthy person, the question we're going to ask is, where might you find emotionally and spiritually secure and healthy people?
Well, I spent a lifetime looking for you. Single bars and good time lovers were never true. Playing a fool's game, hoping to win, and telling those sweet lies and losing again. I was looking for love in all the wrong places, looking for love in too many faces, searching for eyes, looking for traces of what I'm dreaming of, hoping to find a friend and a lover. I'll bless the day I discover another heart looking for love.
Our first week together, on that mission trip, we had such deep conversations, and the kinds of things that could be like barriers to a meaningful relationship, I was pretty confident early on that those weren't there with us, that there was enough commonality, enough of a connection, there's just enough amazing stuff about her that I wasn't worried about that by that stage.
So one of the things that was super important to me about who I wanted to marry was ministry, but also somebody intelligent. That was a big deal to me. And Blake was the smartest, nicest guy that I'd ever really met. And so to date him, to get the opportunity for us to date was kind of I don't want to say a dream thing, but to have somebody, so to have somebody who was really smart and challenged me academically was what kind of interested me in Blake initially. And the other thing is I knew that he was okay about adventure. And once he decided to be a pastor, it was like, okay, I guess this is where this is headed.
She's talking about church and going to church and spending time with family, and these were all values that I also value.
I noticed the way he was professionally with the doctors and the nurses, and very respectful and even-tempered. And I saw him off and on for a year and a half, so I really, not meaning to pay attention, but after you came back from Louisiana, you had a nice beard, and I was like, he's looking pretty good.
Proverbs 6:27 and 28 says, "Can a man take fire in his bosom and his clothes not be burned? Or can a man walk on hot coals and his feet not be scorched? See, I can already hear the thoughts in your mind because I'm sure you've heard it all before. You expect me to tell you that the only place to find a spouse is at church. You think I'm going to tell you to stay away from bars and parties and find your significant other at a home Bible study or something like that. Now, while I think that churches and Bible studies are great places to find someone that shares similar values and life goals with you, I'm not going to pretend that those are the only places that you can find love. See, there have been plenty of people who find lifelong, lasting, and love-filled relationships in other places. What I will say, though, is that you're going to catch what you fish for. See, bars and wild parties are often filled with emotionally and spiritually unhealthy people. So if you are interested in emotionally and spiritually healthy people, bars and wild parties might not be your best option. Consider this advice from Proverbs chapter 4, verses 14 through 19. It says, "Do not enter the path of the wicked, and do not proceed in the way of evil people. Avoid it, do not pass by it, turn away from it, pass on. For they cannot sleep unless they do evil, and they are robbed of sleep unless they make someone stumble. For they eat the bread of wickedness, and they drink the wine of violence. But the path of the righteous is like the light of dawn that shines brighter and brighter until the full day. The way of the wicked is like darkness. They do not know over what they stumble." See, my favorite all-time movie is Harvey, starring Jimmy Stewart. He's an alcoholic named Elwood P. Dowd who sees a 6'3" rabbit named Harvey, who is actually a mythical creature called a puka. One of my favorite lines from the movie is when Elwood P. Dowd describes what happens while they spend time in the bars. He says, "And they come over and they sit with us and they drink with us and they talk to us. They tell about the big, terrible things they've done and the big, wonderful things they'll do. Their hopes and their regrets, their loves and their hates, all very large, because nobody ever brings anything small into a bar." You see, nobody ever brings anything small into a bar. In fact, much of the time, those are the places people go to numb their pain or forget their regrets or to be someone that they're not. So ask yourself this question. Where do you go when you're encouraged, where you're in contact with positive people, where you find joy and peace? Where do you go where you can laugh and joke and be yourself? If you find yourself turning to a place where you are constantly criticized and gossiped about, where you leave feeling shame and emptiness, the relationships you build there will be defined by those things. See, you don't want to search for a lifelong partner at a place where you have to pretend to be someone you're not. People who are empty and trying to find fulfillment in other people, they tend to be there, and they tend to suck the life out of the people around them. Proverbs 27:17 says, "As iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another." If you're going to find the right kind of person, and if you're already heading in the right direction in your own personal, emotional, and spiritual health, the wisdom Scripture gives us is to run our own race, to live in authentic community, and then to look around and see if there might be some attractive and interesting person running along with you, doing similar things beside you. Psalm 1:1 says, "How blessed is the man who does not walk in the counsel of the wicked, nor stand in the path of sinners, nor sit in the seat of scoffers." Instead of going to places filled with emotionally and spiritually unhealthy people to find our lifelong mate, gather around yourself people who build you up, who encourage you, who don't gossip about you, who are not constantly sarcastic to and about you.
Well, I like this. I think the phrase we used in the singles class was, focus your attention on Christ, and as you're moving towards Him, look to
Right.
look to see who's moving with you,
Right.
you know, and then choose, and then take your picks and so forth. And I think one of the real learned things is that love is not just a chemical reaction, you know, because that happens fairly easily. You know, it's the choice of choosing who you love, and then through all of the stuff that she does that's just really weird. I mean,
Super annoying.
right.
When I was a young boy, my mama said to me, there's only one girl in this world for you, and she probably lives in Tahiti. I'll go the whole wide world, I'll go the whole wide world just to find her. Or maybe she's in the Bahamas, where the Caribbean Sea is blue, weeping in the tropical moonlit night, because nobody's talking about you. I go the whole wide world, I go the whole wide world just to find her. I go the whole wide world, I go the whole wide world to find out where they hide her. I go the whole wide world, I go the whole wide world just to find her.
Now, when you think of where to look to find the one, here are some points of wisdom that I think might be helpful to you. First, focus on building a group of solid friendships that are encouraging and life-giving. Second, find a place to serve your church or community that brings a positive benefit for others and is also meaningful and uplifting for you. And third, while you're serving and having fun in those contexts, pay attention to the people around you. Are any of them extra interesting to you? And here's an ending note. We're going to do a bonus session on this topic, but there are some things that distort our expectations of what it means to be in a relationship. Now, these things are especially TV, movies, music, and pornography. Our digital online culture makes it so easy for us to make sure our idea of our future lifelong partners and spouses is completely unattainable. Real relationships don't look like what you see on digital media for the most part. Talk to real people. Talk to your parents, older couples, other caring adults to get a vision for your future relationships that actually is attainable and realistic.